Hey all, XR student here. Today, we're going to talk about books. I want to review the books that I read in June, kind of like a podcasty style. Actually, I listen to most of them, because when I'm making art or traveling or walking, I like having something to listen to. In my May monthly video, I did a whole book review, but I think it took up a huge chunk of time, and I'd rather just make a whole mini video dedicated to it as I'm making some type of art. So, first book we're talking about is Christine by Stephen King. At first, it was hard for me to get into, and then I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good story. It's about this car and a friendship, but Christine's the main topic. It wasn't that scary. It definitely kept you on the edge of your seat, so I would recommend. My favorite character is Dennis, even though he did some questionable things in the book. But I think he had his head on straight and stuck to listening to his instincts, and I don't know, he just made the book good. Next, I listened to another Stephen King book. I was on a kick, and with my library, I'm able to get way more books, the new library I'm at, and I was like, let me just read or listen to everything Stephen King's written. I stumbled upon Apt Pupil. If I wasn't on my phone, I could have zoomed into the cover of the book and seen in the eyeballs, that's Hitler. So this book is disturbing. It's very entertaining, so if you want to listen to that, go for it, but it does have some like creepy and weird stuff that happens, and fantasies, and definitely Hitler admiration. It's a pretty wild story. It's fucked up, don't get me wrong, but it does keep you drawn in, like you want to know more. So I think Stephen King did a good job that way. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I feel like I've read better books by him. Also, it was disturbing, so I don't think I could give it much higher than that. And also, you're like kind of sitting there and you're like, what the fuck is going on? So if you want to read about a young child being obsessed with Hitler and all the shenanigans that he gets into because of that, Apt Pupil would be the story for you. Next up, You Like It Darker. I think this recently just came out by Stephen King, so that's pretty cool, like within the last 6 or so months. And this is a collection of a bunch of short stories that Stephen King has written. I kind of like these, but you also want more when you're listening to them, because you're like, oh, I was so invested in that story. But I know sometimes you just can't, at least with him, or in general, like with myself too, like you can't fully flesh out an idea, and it's just better if it's short and sweet. I'm looking at my Goodreads. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I honestly thought I gave it a 4 out of 5, but it must have impacted me when I read it. The first story, when it came to Two Talented Bastards. That's funny. It's about aliens, I think, and talent. I really liked that one. I wanted to know more, but of course it was too short, but that's okay. Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream, pretty good. I liked that one a lot. His dream basically tortures him in life, and there's a lot of stuff that happens because of that dream, and him trying to prove that he's innocent. It's a really good story. Rattlesnakes, that was good too. Okay, I think I'm just like forgetting everything because I'm looking at all the titles and I loved everyone, maybe minus one story, so I'm a ding dong, whatever. It was about the dad from Cujo, the one with the killer dog. I didn't finish that yet, so don't spoil anything for me. The dad from Cujo is grieving people from Cujo. Not gonna spoil it. Then he meets this woman who is also grieving. It's called Rattlesnakes for a reason. It's very important to the story. I liked it. The Dreamer was really good too. That was like weird. It was about a Vietnam vet that was helping a scientist. And of course, things are crazy with the science experiment. And there were a bunch more stories. Oh, there was one, I'm pretty sure in this one, it was called Lori. And that's one of my favorite stories ever by Stephen King, even though it's a short story. It is so sweet and heartfelt and also disturbing, because everything Stephen King makes is slightly disturbing or super disturbing. But it's, I don't know, there's something about it that I love. And we have another 5 out of 5. Joyland by Stephen King. Again, like I said, I was on a Stephen King kick. Love him. This book wasn't anything extraordinary. It wasn't like a Shawshank Redemption or like a Shining. To me, it was more like The Body or Stand By Me. It was more of a story, and it like brought you through it, and you felt like you were immersed in the lives of the character. It was just a good story. Like I'd love to be around a campfire and listen to it, you know? I really liked the main character. I think if you'll notice, any character that I like is usually like a good rule following, good citizen, helpful person, because that's what I try to be or strive to be. It's about this kid, college age, not actually a kid. He's having some weird stuff happen in his life, and he decides, I gotta go to this theme park, Joyland. And a lot of good and bad happen when he goes there. And you just get to follow the roller coaster of his life. Pun intended. The ending was totally unexpected. I liked it. Next is The Serial Killer's Club. I gave this a 2 out of 5. I really did not like this book at all. I think it only got good at the very, 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 very end. Like, it was not fun to read for me. And this was a physical book I read. I found it at a beach where they had one of those libraries that you could trade. I forgot what they're called, but you know, when you open up the little mailbox library and you put a book in or you take one. And I was really excited because I like reading about crimes or listening to it or knowing more about serial killers. But this sucked. I think mainly because the main character is so frustrating and not a good person and hypocritical. And I think he's made to be infuriating that it was just such a drag to continue reading. Next is The Haunting of Hill House. I gave this a 3 out of 5. I watched the Netflix show first and really enjoyed it. I think the ending I was like, because like the show kind of dragged on. But overall, it was something I've never seen before in a TV show. So I was listening to a Stephen King book recently, and at the end of it, he talked about The Haunting of Hill House and a quote from there. And then I found that my library actually had the audiobook, so I decided to listen. And it is nothing like the Netflix show. All they did was just take the characters' names. That's it. And how Nell, she wanted to be near her mom. That's all they took from the book. That's it. At first, it's very intriguing and you want to listen and you like the characters. But then, I don't know, I feel like it grows frustrating and kind of drags on. And then everything just happens all at once and it's so fast and you're like, oh, okay, I guess it's over now. And I was hoping, I guess, for more ghosty things or more things to happen. Maybe because I have the previous thoughts of Haunting of Hill House, the Netflix show. I screwed up the book, but I don't know, it wasn't that entertaining. Next we have The Breathing Method by Stephen King, of course. This story I've actually listened to in the past, but I didn't remember any of it, so I wanted to re-listen. It's about this man that goes to a man club or a boys club, I guess, and it's just a bunch of old men that are telling stories, and some of the stories are really disturbing, some of them are just like stupid and funny, but the main story that takes up most of the book, and is actually the reason for the title, is really sweet, and then it's not sweet. Like, it's really messed up. I gave this a 3 out of 5, I think because it was okay. I liked the shock factor, but I don't know, I wasn't a fan of the story overall. So the main story is about a pregnant woman, and if you don't want to hear about bad things happening to a pregnant woman, don't listen to this book. It is weird, it is entertaining. I do like the woman in this story, the pregnant one. I like her as a character. She's very feisty and definitely is a fighter. And it's honestly just a sad story. So if you want to be shocked and be upset at the end, listen or read Breathing Method. And that's the end of my mini podcast about books. I hope you enjoyed me ranting and raving about books. I think I'd like to continue this because I do want to talk about the books I've listened to or read. And I hope this inspires you to read one of these books or listen to them. I hope you also enjoyed watching me make some bookmarks. I will use them on future book reading, like physical books. So that will be fun. I just need to laminate them. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next week. Bye. See you next time.